Hello, people of the Caribbean. My name is Joe Darkham, and I'm the Yellow host of the Yellow CPL Rewind, and I'm joined by the Yellow analyst, lead analyst Chris Gale, Mr. Ranford Merchant, as well as Damian Daniels, and we'll be bringing to you the recap from the CPL T20 matches. Now, as you know, Yellow is an official sponsor for this year's tournament, and as such, we are bringing something exciting to you, which we hope you will love. Now, first of all, guys, we have to get straight into last night's game, because that's what we'll be doing, bringing it to you, and I want to do a quick recap. Now, last night we had the Trinbago Knight Riders up against St. Lucia Stars. What was the recipe for success for the Trinbago Knight Riders? Because they came out as the winners for that first opener. Yeah.
Well, Joel, I think the key to success was the way they batted. I mean, 195 runs is the highest total ever scored at the Queen's Park Oval in CPL's history. Colin Munro, one of the finest batsmen in T20 cricket. Now he has 3 centuries, he has 10 half centuries. So, I mean, he's up there with the very best, the Chris Gales and, of course, Brendan McCullum. Dinesh Ramdin, he came in, put the finishing touches to the innings. Of course, Colin Munro, he dominated the power play. And the Trinbago Knight Riders, they're bowling attack. They have variety. They have a good off spinner, one of the best in the world in Sunil Narayan. And they have a good replacement for Shadab Khan in at forward Ahmed, who was pretty good, just as Shadab Khan. So I think all-round performance. They have a captain. They have 3 leaders on the team. They have Brendan McCullum, who is a former captain of New Zealand. They have with them Dwayne Bravo, the captain. Dinesh Ramdin, a former captain. So they have leaders. So I think they're looking good. They're defending champions, and they showed why they are the defending champions. And they took advantage of a very lackluster St. Lucia Stars.
Because I want to take it from your point, what didn't St. Lucia do?
Well, I think St. Lucia, they fielded very poorly. They dropped a lot of catches. And I think that Trinbago capitalized on those drop catches. As Chris said, Colin Munro, he dominated the power play. He carried them to a greater deal of the overs, where he pretty much took the game away from them. And in the end, Dinesh Ramdin came in and pretty much put the finishing touches on that. So I think that's where they lost it.
All right, I want to bring it to performances now. Man of the match, tell me about that, Damian.
All right, as Chris had earlier mentioned, Colin Munro, he took charge of the game from within the power play session, and he batted through it till about the 14th or 15th over. So he batted through majority of the innings per se. He got support from Dinesh Ramdin, who made an unbeaten half century as well. He made 50 of 27 deliveries. This consisted of 2 boundaries and 4 hero maximums, and this was Dinesh Ramdin's 7th CPL half century. Colin Munro, he made 68 of 48 deliveries, highlighted with 9 boundaries as well, and he also hit 1 hero maximum. But I think where St. Lucia lost it, they started off well with Andre Fletcher and David Warner, because they put on about 35 within 2.5 over. But after they lost Fletcher, that's where St. Lucia lost the game, because they constantly lost wickets at regular intervals, and they lost the last 9 wickets with scoring only 60 runs. So that's where they pretty much lost the game. They weren't rotating the strike, they weren't hitting boundaries as was required. So they lost it there pretty much for me.
Well, we're still in the early stages of the match. Tournament just started, and we're now going to see match 2, which will have Guyana Amazon Warriors up against St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. What's your prediction for that one?
I think the predictions, the Chris Gale factor, we have to when you're making predictions. I mean, every time when you're playing against Chris Gale, there's always the Chris Gale factor. You always have to factor in that. Guyana, it's a tricky venue. It's a tricky wicket. They're playing against St. Kitts will be playing up against some good spinners in Permal and Tahir and Bishu. But the thing is, off late, Chris Gale has joined the St. Kitts Patriots, a team that was struggling in the earlier edition of the CPL. Now we're seeing they went to the final last year, and they're doing well. They have some pretty good talents, of course, some pretty talents coming out of Jamaica, and Brandon King, Fabian Allen. So I think these young talents, they're rallying around Chris, and I think you can expect great things from them. On the other team, Guyana Amazon Warriors, a season campaign team. They're always up in the top 4, in the top 3, always up probably in the semi-final, the playoffs, and the final. And they have Chadwick Walton. They have the good spinners. They have Martin Guptill. So it's a tricky one, but I think Guyana Amazon Warriors playing at home and a very good crowd support in Guyana. The crowd always come out in their numbers. So I think I'm giving them the win despite the Chris Gale factor. But I mean, if he comes off this evening, I mean, we'll be in for a treat because he's definitely the most exciting batsman that we have seen in T20 cricket, one of the most exciting batsmen in the world. His record speak for itself. So I think if he comes off, but again, with that said, I think he's going up in age, but I just think the guy in the Amazon Warriors just have enough and playing at home to win.
So in addition to home appeal, from the crowd and the excitement and all of that, and the adrenaline that they might feel, what about the pitch? You think that's also an advantage?
Yeah, definitely. The pitch is definitely an advantage. And as Chris had mentioned earlier, Ghana has a lot of good spinners that can take the game away from you at any time. In Bishu, Permal, and Imran Tayer, who is a South African. He's has played in many T20s around the world, and he has proven himself over and over again. I think that's why they would have drafted him. So I think that the wicket, always susceptible to spin, Ghana playing at home, I think they would have had the edge. They know the ground, they know the conditions better than St. Kitts. But as Chris had mentioned earlier as well, the Chris Gale factor is a factor that you can't rule out. Chris Gale went to St. Kitts Patriot, and prior to the team's meeting, in the last 5 meetings, the first 3, Ghana Amazon Warriors had won those 3, and since Chris Gale has gone to St. Kitts, which was last season, they have won the last 2 games. So even with that said, I think that Ghana still has the edge over St. Kitts.
All right, and Damien, what's your take on it?
As Chris and Ranford had earlier mentioned, the pitch is a spinner's paradise, and they have experienced spinners within their team. That's the Guyana Amazon Warriors. They have Bijou, Permal, but Chris Gale, Evan Lewis, factor for me. Evan Lewis had just concluded the Bangladesh tour of the West Indies, and he wasn't among the runs. So he'll be trying to get some runs in this first game against the Guyana Amazon Warriors. So if Chris Gale and Evan Lewis bats through about 10 or 12 overs of the game, it will be an interesting one to really watch.
And young Fabian Allen, he was outstanding in the just concluded Canada T20. He was good, so I think he's one coming up for the future. Exciting in the field, so I think he's one to add to the discussion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, based on the predictions, everything is kind of.
I don't
want to get the scores predicted, but I mean, I'm getting a Guyana vibe from probably 2.
Yeah.
And having the Chris Gale factor in the back of our minds.
Never leaving that out. I mean,
but we didn't know today that yesterday St. Lucia, they haven't won a game since 2016. They lost all their games in 2017 and they lost today. So I think the coaching personnel in St. Lucia, I would have to check if it has changed. I think after losing 12 games, you would have think it would have been changed. So I think it's something to look for. And when you look at the St. Lucia Stars, they have good players on paper.
World-class players, if you have.
David Warner, so I don't know what is going wrong with them. So I think I'm hoping they can turn around for the sake of the fans, for the sake of the biggest party in sport. I'm hoping that this St. Lucia Stars can turn it around.
All right. I'm not certain. Well, we'll have to check out the fixtures on CPL to see when they're playing next.
Definitely.
But I mean, it's an exciting time. A lot of changes,
Indeed.
a lot of movements, and I mean, one thing that doesn't die at all is the excitement among the fans. I mean, my friend called me from Trinidad last night. Oh, the stadium was.
It's a carnival atmosphere as usual in Trinidad.
That's interesting. A few other things to note. They're now going to broadcast live in India to show you how it's picking up. That's CPL.
Yeah, well, CPL. I think a lot of persons would agree that the CPL for me is the biggest. When you take the IPL out of the equation, and when I think it's the next biggest thing in T20 franchise cricket, and that's why it appeals to the Indian public. It's appealing to the Indian public. We see the big Australian names coming into the CPL this year, David Warner and Steve Smith. It's a big thing for them. There was just in brawl in some match fixing scandal, and so a lot of
tell us about that one for those who might not have known.
well, they were banned by Cricket Australia for 12 months, both players, after the incident in South Africa. So I think the eyes are on them. They're massive players in world cricket, and a lot is expected of them. And it's good to have them in the CPL. I think from bad things, you have good things come out of
it. And it's also important to note along that line that Fox Sports Australia also just signed a 4-year deal to broadcast in Australia. Like all 34 matches, no ad, live exclusively.
Well, I think
so. That's interesting as well.
I think, as Chris Gill said, it's getting bigger. Aside from the Indian Premier League, I think CPL is the most exciting T20 cricket being played by any of the world nations that are involved in cricket. So I think that with Fox Sports coming on board, it just shows that there are great things happening and it's evolving each year.
Yeah, and just to add to Ranford's point, in terms of the atmosphere within the CPL venues, I think it's pretty much similar to the venues back in India for the IPL setup. So it's pretty much of a similar setting in terms of the support that each team gets, the excitement, the competitiveness of the games. So it's really intriguing.
And a carnival atmosphere. Yeah. I mean, like you can't write that out of the park. You get a different flavor when you go to Jamaica. You get a different flavor when you go to Trinidad and Guyana.
And all of that. All right, well, I think that's where we're going to end the discussion for today, because you're going to join us for all the other matches. We'll be reviewing all of them. And in addition to that, you also have a unique and very exciting opportunity to win some tickets to some of these matches, so you can join in on the conversation as well. All you need to do, follow us on social media on all your local Yello social media pages. That's on Instagram and Twitter, whether it's in Trinidad, St. Kitts, Guyana, St. Lucia, or Jamaica, or Barbados. Just follow us, and we'll be posting clues as a part of our Find Yello Treasure competition. And all you need to do is download our mobile app, visit these social media pages for the daily clues, find the answers in the mobile app, and then take a screenshot of it, upload it to your social media page, and then you're on your way to win a ticket. Or you can also get your crew and take a selfie with all of you showing the mobile app that you just downloaded for your chance to win tickets for you and your friends. So remember, awesome opportunities to win tickets to the matches, and we will be here to review all these matches. So be sure to continue to follow us on social media and get in the game. Thank you so much for joining us.